And greetings and welcome to the QCast. This is season 5, episode 57. We're now into off-season episodes. The QCast does not take any breaks, folks. Well, we take some breaks, but there's no parts of the year that we just shut it down, and we're proud of that. Off-season, a lot of job movement, per usual in Division 3, kind of those early off-season months, a lot of coaching changes. We're going to feature another one of those today. And one of the big pieces of news in the offseason was when Tom Palumbo, the head coach at Guilford, announced that he was leaving after 22 seasons to take a assistant job at D1 Longwood. And of course, Coach Palumbo, 22 seasons, 420 wins, multiple NCAA appearances, was in the Final Four recently. And so that was a big news, right? That was people saying there is a great job that's open in Division 3 and a great opportunity for someone. And I have that someone here with me, Jesse DeLoof, who was named the head coach at Guilford just in the last couple weeks. Jesse, let's just start with how are you doing? Is your head spinning? Just talk us through kind of how you're doing with the transition right now.
Yeah, so there's a lot to get done, but I was talking with someone today and I was like, there's a lot of things that need to be accomplished between now and, maybe the first day of school, but like right now is just such a waiting period. Like I go to campus next week for a couple days, so we'll be able to get some things done there, and then on campus the whole following week, hopefully be moved in at Guilford. Um, by the end of the month. But the house has to go up for sale. I was power washing the house today so we can get put on the market, and but we're still living there. So I like want to box everything up and I want to like get a lot of stuff done, but we're kind of in the waiting period right now. So a lot of things that need to get done, but right now it's just kind of sit still and kind of wait for the next thing.
And that traveling party is Coach DeLoof and his fiance Abby, and so they'll be moving to Greensboro sooner than later. And Jesse's coming off 5 years as the head men's basketball coach at Pitt-Bradford, which is his alma mater. He's a 2013 graduate of Pitt-Bradford. And boy, Jesse, you had some incredible success there. I was looking at records, and the year before you got there, which was 1920, Pitt-Bradford had one win. And last year, you guys went 24 in 4, 14 and 2. You won an NCAA game. You beat TCNJ before losing to Hampton-Sydney. You were the AMCC Coach of the Year. You were the D3Hoops.com Region 7 Coach of the Year. What an amazing job and turnaround there at your alma mater. I know it's a pretty loaded question, but talk through like your feelings of what you guys accomplished there at your alma mater in that 5 year span.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot to look at, even just like last year, like you name it, some of the things we were able to accomplish. Had a really great group. And that's why we were able to build it up while I was here over 5 years, with just really good guys in the program. I've had really good assistant coaches. I've had really good mentors. Like I've had a ton of help along the way from everybody. My athletic director, Coach Moore, who's a great mentor of mine, who's at Elizabethtown now. I've had really good assistants, like I said, so a ton of help. But yeah, I took over a one-win program. Uh, they had won 9 games in the 3 years combined before I took over, so they didn't have one down year.
Wow.
The program was in bad shape, but you know, knew that we could get it turned around, and it was a blessing because I took over during COVID. So when I took over, I think there was like 4 or 5 guys on the roster, honestly, and I don't know what we would have done if we would have had to play 25 games. Like I would have been having
Yeah.
tryouts and looking around campus, but it was COVID, so I was on the road 4 nights a week, 5 nights a week. My assistant coach at the time, Manveer, he works for the NBA now. Um, Same thing, just like on the road, finding guys, building
Sure.
up the roster. So that kind of put the program ahead with us having that pause. And then yeah, we won 9 games that first year, um, and it was a step in the right direction. And then 12, 14, and then we really broke through this last year, 24 and 4, like you said. And yeah, I thought we would. I was confident we'd be good this year if somebody told me we were going to be 24 and 4 and win the regular season and postseason championship, and go to the NCAA tournament and win again. If somebody told me that before the season, I probably would have, I don't know if I would have believed him, but it kind of just built throughout the year. And, there was just, hints along the way that, wow, we can be really good. And it was looking back on the year, like what an awesome experience. Like it was so much fun to be a part of. Yeah, something I'll always remember.
Well, I want to just ask a little bit about the decision to take the Pitt-Bradford job because you were an assistant there for a little bit. And then your first head coaching job was at a high school, was at Youngsville High School. Another turnaround thing. You took a 2-win team and you took that team to 20 wins in just 2 years. The decision to take the Pitt-Bradford job, again, this wasn't like taking Guilford at the time, right? That was a big decision to come back to your alma mater and have to turn it around, have to just completely rebuild it. Was that a tough call, or was that like an absolute no brainer that you were taking that job, or you were interested in it?
No, it was an absolute no-brainer. Like I wanted to be a full-time basketball coach. And I had moved down to Charlotte, North Carolina to be an assistant at Wingate University, like for like 7, 8 months. And then that was COVID. And then my alma mater, obviously Pitt-Bradford opened up. It actually opened up on my birthday, which is, I feel like a
Well,
little bit of a little bit of a
sure.
sign. But then yeah, was no brainer to take the job and was really excited about it. And yeah, like I was talking to some of my high school guys at Youngsville the other day. I was texting them. We still talk, and like it's crazy to me how those guys, they were just playing high school basketball and enjoying, playing a high school sport and all of that. But truly, like their commitment to basketball and their love for it, and like the time they put in the summer, and like they have a huge part in me, like getting a dream job like Guilford. Like that might seem like far fetched, but like if we didn't build up a high school program and have success there, then I don't get the job at Pitt-Bradford. And then same thing, like when I
Right.
called all my guys at Pitt-Bradford, it was like, I am in debt to you guys. Like I know you didn't, put in the extra work so coach could get um, a dream job, one of the best jobs in Division III basketball, but that ended up leading to that. So like once again, just so grateful for like all the guys I've coached because like they're them chasing their dreams have like propelled me to, be able to accomplish some of mine.
Similar question about then taking the job at Guilford or pursuing it. I would assume on just from afar, Guilford's one of the best jobs in Division III and one of the best leagues in Division III. I would think that a job like that opens, and that's a pretty easy decision to put your name in the mix. What was it an easy decision to pursue it? I know you didn't want to leave your guys and leave your alma mater, but talk about like the decision to go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like whenever I saw the job opened up, I knew I'd put my name in the hat. Um, And fit's really important to me. Like I wasn't, not every job that opened this cycle was like, oh, I think that could be good. But the things that I know about Guilford, obviously the ODAC, I have aspirations of winning a national championship, and they were in a final. Guilford's been in multiple Final Fours.
Right.
Like, so fit wise, I thought that it you know could be good. And then going through the process, like more and more, I was like, yeah, this is somewhere I could see myself like having success. And that was one of the things with Pitt-Bradford. Like I was familiar with it, so I knew that, even though the program had struggled, I didn't know how good we could be, but I knew we could like get it back to,
Right.
competitive in the conference and whatnot. And then like same thing going through the process with Guilford and doing my research and going to campus. I was like, you know, you look at their schedule and you're like, there's some juggernauts on here. Like it's a really good league, which is exciting. But then, going to campus, it's like, yeah, we can win here. Like location's really good. Like they've had a ton of success. Now it's just being able to sustain that success. And like that was one of the things going into this off season. Like specific jobs I was interested in, and I wanted to take a job that I would be, I don't know about like scared to take, but like,
Sure.
give you a little bit of butterflies. Like, okay, taking over after someone like Tom Palumbo and a team that's, in one of the best leagues in the country and been to Final Fours. Like when the athletic director, Bill Fody called me, like I accepted it on the spot. Obviously, I was, I think before he said I'd like to offer you the position, I was like, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, there was definitely like nerves around that. And I feel like a certain like obligation and to keep the program at a high standard, and that's what I wanted.
the ODAC, as we've talked about here a couple times already, juggernaut of a league. I don't know the exact number of teams that were voted on last year in the top 25. I would guess it was five or six. You look at what Randolph-Macon's done. You look what Hampton-Sydney has become again under Caleb there. You look at Virginia Wesleyan, just kind of keep going down the line. Roanoke was awesome. Um, not no slight against the AMCC. Now you're in a conference where, I mean, how many games a year in your league are you playing against the top 25? So it's kind of a whole different ballgame. How do you process that kind of coming into a league that is just so strong like the ODAC is?
Yeah, I think it's exciting. And that's after I had accepted the position, like on the phone. I think my first Google was like ODAC standings, which I've looked at a number of times before, and then a little bit of me was like, "Oh no, like what I just signed up for." But it'll like I want that. I want it to push me to be a better coach. I want that competition. Like it was no different when I was in the AMCC my first couple of years, and like Dave Nyland at Penn State Barron over 500
Yeah,
wins, Hermie Carmichael at La Roche. Like
yeah.
there's been really good coaches in this conference as well, and like I took my lumps against those guys, and that made me better. And like you know, we played Caleb at Hampton-Sydney this year. He's actually a Guilford alumni, so he's been reaching out and been very supportive and helpful. But like, um, yeah, like those guys are going to make me better, and I want that. I want to be pushed and um, yeah, keep the standard of Guilford basketball. So we're going to take things one day at a time. Like I'm not going to try to be Tom Palumbo. I'm not going to try to you know emulate someone else in the league, like maybe the way they win, like Randolph-Macon and that. But like we're going to be Guilford. I'm going to be Coach Jesse DeLoof, and we're just going to compete every day, try to get better, and just stay true to who we are.
Well, speaking of Coach Jesse DeLoof, I want to talk about that style that you guys played at Pitt-Bradford, because anyone that clicked on some streams for a while to watch you guys play saw some serious buckets. So you guys average 103.1 points a game. That was third highest in the nation. I assume behind Greenville and Grinnell in whatever order. You had
Yes, sir.
14.1 steals per game. I also assume that would have been behind Greenville and Grinnell in whatever order. So you're playing this crazy up tempo. We're going to turn you over. About 35% of your field goal attempts were threes. So shooting a lot of threes. I don't know what you would call it. There's the system, which kind of is everything that came from Grinnell. But then you've got a lot of teams playing up tempo basketball, like Redlands. Redlands isn't the system. North Park in Chicago isn't the system, but it's really up tempo. How would you describe that system that you guys were running there at Pitt-Bradford, Jesse?
Yeah, I'll take zero credit for the system. It's it came, which, Crutchfield at Nova Southeastern. They've won two of the last three national championships, Division Two. His assistant, Jordan Fee, was at Gannon, and one of my ex-players, Nathan Schneider, played his final year at Gannon. So that the year that Gannon went to the Elite Eight, best turnaround in NCAA history, he was on that team. And then Nathan Schneider came back and helped me coach this past
Sure.
year. And we've always played up tempo, like we've always played we've always scored quite a few points, not 103, but we've always been up tempo. And then I've always wanted to press, but I've never played for a coach that's pressed. I've never been an assistant. So like I wanted to roll it out, but I was just like a lot of coaches. It's like the first time the ball gets thrown over your head, you're like, get back, let's sit in some gaps and get a stop. So like, but it was something I really wanted to do. So like whenever I knew Nathan was going to come back, Nathan Schneider was going to come back and help me out. I was like, we're going to do, and I had gone up and watched some Gannon practices, and Jordan Fee's been awesome, like sharing some stuff. And so we just committed to it. And like that was the best thing we did, was like truly commit to it. Like it was not, at no point was it a question of, oh, this team has good guards, we're not going to do it, or not a good matchup or whatever. Like we were fully into it from our first practice, and just really committed to it. The guys saw that we could have success with it, and just went all in. And but no, I did not invent it. I did not. I you know it's I every good idea I have is stolen, and along with those, but Jordan Fee helped a lot, and then just I don't know Crutchfield, but just watching his stuff and all the film, West Lib, and those teams that have had a lot of success, we
Right.
tried to be as much like them as possible.
One of the biggest questions I've seen on Twitter in the last couple weeks since you got announced, or last week or whatever it's been, is like, holy cow, is Guilford going to play up tempo? Because when I picture a Guilford game, like if I tune in to watch Guilford play Hampton Sydney, I'm thinking I'm going to see like 43-42 slugfest, and now everyone's like, holy cow, like what is Guilford going to score a bunch of points? Like, are you going to implement the way you played at Pitt-Bradford at Guilford? You going to bring something else there, or do you even know yet?
Yeah, I mean, to your point, like we need to be ready for slugfest too. Like that's that league. If you can't box
Right.
out, you can't, you know, get in some sort of playground fist fight every once in a while and go rip down a rebound. Like it doesn't matter what tempo we play at. Like we need to be physical, need to be able to compete in the paint and hold up in that way. But no, it's like I said, I'm going to lean into my strengths as a coach. Um, I'm not going to try to coach defense like Tom Palumbo did, and had a ton of success with it. Like I know how to coach the system, that we ran at Pitt-Bradford. Like that's what we're going to do going forward. And there's guys on the roster, talent on the roster, and we'll recruit to that. And but yeah, we're gonna yeah, Guilford's going to be scoring a lot of points,
I
and
like it.
hopefully also getting a lot of stops, and and rebounding and doing all the little stuff too. So but no, dude, I need to lean into what I'm good at as a coach, and this is what I know, and this is what I've had success in, and this is what I believe too. So it fits, and that's what we're gonna push for.
That's refreshing to hear. I've seen guys take over for legendary coaches and maybe be a little scared to just do things exactly the way. I remember when Denny Bridges retired at my alma mater, Illinois Wesleyan, and Scott Trost came. I feel like Scott was a little too nice the first couple of years. Like, what? Hey, we're not going to change much. We're going to keep running what Coach Bridges was doing, and Scott really was a very different kind of coach, and he finally became that coach a couple of years in and started winning. And so that's
Yeah,
really
we had our Zoom last night with the team, and I said, like, a lot more stuff's going to be the same than it is different. Like, you guys have won, you guys are winners. Like, we're going to just continue to conduct ourselves like winners. Like that, all the stuff off the court. Like, you guys obviously handle your business the right way. Like, there's going to be a couple things that are a little different with me as the head coach, but you guys know how to win, and so do I. So we're gonna stick with that. But no, style of play, and I think too, like when things don't go well and you lose a close game, like I'll know how to make adjustments, and I'll still believe in what we're doing. And if it's I'm trying to coach somebody else's system or program, or how would he have done it? Like this is something I can hang my hat on, and I know the things we need to tweak and stuff like that. But no, Guilford's a winning culture, and maybe steady the boat a little bit with a new coach, but we're going
right.
to keep operating a lot like they have in the past.
I had Matt Goldsmith on here last week, the new coach at Middlebury, and we talked about. I asked him about recruiting, and does he want to build around high school recruits? Does he want to build around portal and transfers? And I don't know if you've had a ton of time to think about exactly all this, but how do you look at that? How do you look at like constructing incoming classes between high school kids and transfers and that sort of thing?
Yeah, we were in a unique situation here at Pitt-Bradford. If you've ever been to Bradford, like it's extremely rural. So we went more like the junior college route.
Sure.
Um, but if you've ever been to Greensboro, I mean, what a gorgeous city
Yeah,
with,
great place.
right there. And then Winston-Salem, and like the location is amazing. I can't wait to get moved down there. Um, but so, I think that area is one of your strongest recruiting tools is
Yeah.
recruiting North Carolina. And that's going to be my main focus, is like controlling and owning North Carolina and recruiting. And then I think that we'll get we'll get in the mix with some guys that maybe we wouldn't if we weren't in such an awesome location. And in such a good league and stuff like that. So a lot of good things going for Guilford College, and that's why they've had the success they've had. But No, we want like North Carolina high school is where that's gonna be the foundation of our recruiting classes, and then guys that have ties to the area and things like that. But if you looked at my Pitt-Bradford roster, it was Oklahoma, Texas,
Sure.
Kansas, like all, we really did recruit nationally, and the closest airport is in Buffalo, New York, so an hour and a half away. So um, it's a little different in Greensboro, and I'll definitely recruit more locally in Greensboro than I did here at Pitt Bradford, just talent wise.
Just curious, when you were this is something that might help aspiring coaches, maybe assistants that are looking at head jobs, but um, any tips for people when they're interviewing for head coaching jobs? I have assistants on here actually a little bit every now and then, and they've been great. But was there any approach you took to this interview process and selection process that you feel like went really well, or anything you would recommend to people that are interviewing for, their dream job?
Yeah, I mean, as basic as it seems, like I do think you have to be yourself throughout the process. Like I think that people can tell that, and you're meeting with so many people on campus, like the players, the president, you're sitting down with the AD and having lunch.
Right.
Like if you're trying to seem like, a head coach that or something like that, I think at some point that's going to come across, and
Right.
people get a feel for that, especially college kids. Like I'd say that like college kids can smell fake from a mile away. Like you have to be real with them as your coach, and then or as their coach, and also like when you're on campus meeting with anybody. Like I think you really have to be yourself. I think you need to. I'm not an expert on this, but I think you need to go to campus with a couple things a point you want to get across. Like, what are the things that separate you, and then find your way to get that point across. Like when you leave campus, you want, the AD, the search committee to, if you ask them like, what is he about? Those two, three bullet points, that's your job when you're on campus, is to get those across. And then, I think that like having mentors in the business that can kind of help you with like, hey, this is what they're going to be looking for at this spot. This is why it's the right fit for you. Like kind of formulating those bullet points is very helpful. Like I'm lucky to have people in my corner that are good at that and willing to help me with that. And will also like be like, no, like that's not a good job for you. That's not a good fit. That type of thing.
Just a couple more questions. We're talking to Jesse DeLoof, who's the new head men's basketball coach at Guilford College. And question is about your staff. Do you still have to complete your staff? Is that all nailed down, or where does all of that stand?
Yeah, I'm really fortunate to be stepping into a really good situation. Brandon Baker, who was on staff before, he's down there. I'm meeting with him on Monday. And then Brian Matthews, whose wife is the women's coach, and he works in admissions. And so like there's a staff down there that is really familiar with how things work. Coach Matthews was at Hamilton for a while. He was at Bridgewater
Sure.
for a while. Like his resume, and he works in admissions and is volunteering with the program. And like just talking with him, like he's going to be an awesome asset to the program. And then Brandon Baker, I'm going to get to know him better here soon. But yeah, I feel very fortunate for that, like to be stepping into this position, and they know a lot about the league. Like Coach Baker played at Everett. He's been around the ODAC, which is going to be very helpful. But the things that I don't know, I'm going to lean on them a lot because they know more about the league than I do. They know more North Carolina recruiting than I do. So we're going to work as a team in like recruiting and everything with the conference and whatnot. So I lucked out on that one. I'm really happy with the staff that's already in place there.
That's awesome. That's great. And just the final question on my end, it has to do with just like why D3. Obviously, you're a Pitt-Bradford grad. You played there. You were an assistant there. You were the head coach there. Now you're the head coach at another Division 3, Guilford. What is it about Jesse, the Division 3 level that you appreciate so much? Kind of build a career so far around Division 3.
Yeah, I'm a Division 3 guy, like through and through. Like I was a I was a I was a good high school player. I was a very average college player, but got recruited by a few Division threes, and me and my parents had no idea how the recruiting process worked. I'm a farm kid from central Pennsylvania. Like me and my mom used to make DVDs and send out newspaper clippings to colleges to try to get me recruited. I remember, and um, Coach Andy Moore was one of the first coaches to call me from Pitt-Bradford, and went on some Division 3 visits, but like it's the right fit for me. I don't come from a coaching tree by any means. I don't have an uncle in Division 1 level and I think that matches a lot of guys that play at the Division 3 level. Like they play because they love it. They, trying to find a way to keep doing it. And it's like kind of blue collar and like we're
Right.
somewhat insulated from, all the craziness of Division 1 and even Division 2 now. And I like that. It's like the love of the game. It's, setting a goal and with a bunch of people and going after it like crazy. And I still think that that's what Division 3 athletics is. And that's me. Like it just fits me really well. And I couldn't, like, this is the level I need to be coaching at, continue to coach at.
Very well said. I think the gap between Division 1 and 3 continues to widen with all the NIL and money related stuff. And Division 3 here is, kids playing because they love the game. It's great basketball, obviously. And so I think everything that's happening at the D1 level will continue to create more interest in Division 3. People come to games and they know that these are great athletes. It's great basketball. It's kids that can shoot it, pass it, handle it, play defense, rebound. So yeah, very well said. Just a couple final thoughts on mine, and then I'll ask you to kind of close us out with anything you want to leave the QCast viewers with, Jesse, today. But congratulations. I mean, there's some jobs in Division 3 that stand out, and top of the ODAC type job is a wow. And so that's a big one. Obviously, it's going to be, tough there in the ODAC with all those established programs, but betting on you to find some kids and get this thing rolling at Guilford, keep it rolling. I know from an NPI standpoint, you're going to like this move. Pitt-Bradford, you guys were on the struggle bus trying to move up those decimal points, and we'd have to get Matt Snyder on here to explain it. But I mean, Jesse, would you agree that NPI wise, hey, you're in great shape if you win your ball games now at Guilford?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, yeah, get 3 or 4 teams in, and yeah, and if you can find a way to win the league, I think you got a chance to win a national championship too. I kept all the NPI stuff. My assistant would come in my office like after every game the following day and be like, "This is where we're at with NPI. If we win out, we might." I'm like, "We are not going down that road. You're going to drive me crazy. You're going to drive yourself crazy. Like, let's just have a good practice today." So. But no, yeah, the ODAC I mean, yeah, the competition in that, and
Right,
it's all strength of schedule, right? Like you got to play good teams to move up. Last year we'd win some games and go down,
right.
in NPI. So yeah, that will be I guess
Difference.
a relief in some ways. But then you get done play. I think we played Hampton, Sydney, and Roanoke back to back. So I don't know if I'll care too much about NPI. I think I'll be more worried about like how do we find a way to win the
Gotta
rebounding battle.
right. Doesn't do any good that strength of schedule if you don't win a large chunk of those games. And
Yes, sir.
so yeah, best of luck to you and congratulations on what you did at Pitt-Bradford. I mean, that's pretty amazing stuff. 24-4 and 14-2, and winning an NCAA game against an NJAC team. I mean, really impressive. Jesse, what would you close us out with today on the QCast? I know we're going to have some Quakers folks tuning in to see like who's our new guy here, who is this guy, and some ODAC fans. I think D3 Nation will be tuning into this. Certainly the DataCast guys, Zach and Matt, because they find it fascinating that Guilford might score like a ton of points. So, what would you close us out with, Jesse, on the QCast?
Yeah, no, I'm just really excited to be, the new head coach at Guilford College. Like, what an honor! And I was a high school coach 6 years ago, and we with a lot of help from a lot of people, like to be the next head coach at Guilford, like it is. I am humbled by that, and it is like it is an absolute honor, and I don't take it lightly at all. Like, um, I'm gonna work my tail off, and we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna keep the program at a really high level, and hopefully even take it further. And when I said at Pitt-Bradford we were going to win the conference and be top 25 in the country and win an NCAA game, I don't know if a lot of people believed me whenever I said that. And it's like the same thing. Like, I plan on winning a national championship at Guilford, and that might, people are like, that's harder than you think. And no, I know how hard that would be, but that is the goal. Like, and that's what we're going to pursue every day. And yeah, I'm just so excited about it, and I'm ready to get down to Greensboro and get to work on it.
Well, the great thing about being in a league like the ODAC is that if you can just focus on getting to the top of your league, getting to be like a top two team in the league, even a top three, a team that competes for the championship, as you said earlier, then you are a national championship contender at that point. I think at Pitt-Bradford, you could win that league and still have a pretty good gap between the teams that are, the NYUs and the Trinities of the world and teams like that. And so, yeah, focus on kind of competing in your league. And boy, the teams at the top of the ODAC find themselves doing awfully well in that NCAA tournament. Folks, that's QCast Season 5, Episode 57. Jesse DeLoof is the new head men's basketball coach at Guilford. Jesse, best of luck to you. Thanks for joining me on the QCast. I think people will enjoy this, and look forward to watching you guys win some ball games.
Thanks a lot, Bob. I appreciate it.